So what's up, people, and welcome to the Chapter 12 discussion of 僕らの血盟, or Our Blood Oath. So yeah, things are getting heated up very quickly, and I really enjoyed Chapter 12. We learn a lot more again in Chapter 12. And we continue on with that battle that we saw in Chapter 11, where Haiga, that enemy vampire, was battling with Shin and Ko. And Chapter 12 continues on with that, and throughout that battle, even in this chapter, Haiga is continuing to call Ko His Majesty with a tremendous amount of respect. And of course, if we recall, in Chapter 11, we learned that vampires can weaponize their blood. They can use their blood for weapons. But what we find out in Chapter 12, through Haiga's explanation, is that only royal lineage can weaponize their blood. And the strength of the weapon depends upon how old and how powerful that bloodline is. And so since Ko is the next line for the throne, Haiga tells him that he should have tremendously powerful blood. And in fact, most likely is even more powerful than the previous king, because of not only the power of the blood, but also the power that you gain from the blood oath with Shin. And we find out that Haiga's power, as interesting as it is nowhere near as powerful as Ko's. And so all of this is explained since Haiga is nowhere near as strong a bloodline as Ko. We learned that first he could use a blood weapon, which indicates that he is somewhere in the royalty, but he is not really high up in that royal bloodline. And this continues on where we're starting to get more and more understanding that I feel that Haiga is definitely thinking about something very different from the rest of the enemy vampires. And he does want to battle Ko, not to kill him, but to learn something, which we don't know what that is. Probably the degree of power and the justification for his royalty? Maybe. But in any case, we don't get to find out what that is in Chapter 12 because of the fact that that other dude stabs him in the back. Haiga, I mean. So, this other character who I don't know the name yet. I think it might have been said in a previous chapter, but I've forgotten it. I apologize. But that is the truly evil dude that we've been seeing so far. The one that actually kidnapped Kiri? Yeah, I think it was Kiri and Ami, and had them locked up in that room, you remember, such that Kiri eventually drove herself crazy from blood hunger, that she finally attacked and killed her best friend Ami. And so, of course, when we come to this chapter, this dude or girl or whatever, I'm not sure which it is, not only backstabs Haiga, but then introduces themselves to Shin and Ko. And what's interesting is that character actually goes out of the way to tell Shin and Ko that it was him, her, I'm not sure which, but that dude that actually did the kidnapping that resulted in the death of Ami. And you can imagine what sort of reaction both Shin and Ko had. And of course, Shin, being much more down to earth, is angry, but is already thinking what they need to do to get out of this situation. But Ko, despite the fact that for the most part Ko is a goofy dude, this time I really liked it, because this time Ko just snapped. And he drank 2 bottles of Shin's blood. And when he does that, my gosh, his power level goes through the roof. And I really love the scene of Ko holding that gigantic death scythe. ready to, go into battle. And so, we do find out that when Ko seriously wants to get power, he can do so. And what we also find out is something as a twist at the very end, which if you're interested, you should go take a look at, because I will leave a link to chapter 12, which is currently on the publisher's official website, Manga Plus, where they're showing it for free to the audience, at least the North American audience, for a few weeks anyway. So if you're interested, go take a look at it. But there is a twist at the end, and we learn a little bit more about that other dude. But this is a very interesting chapter. It's definitely, again, escalating the entire intensity of this comic rather well. It started out very mundane, and I wasn't sure how much of action we were going to see. We saw some very wholesome brotherhood relation between Shin and Ko, and the first few chapters were relatively peaceful. And then, right now, we're going into a lot more depth. And what's interesting is it's creating some very interesting questions that probably will get answered in the near future. First of all, what is Haiga's objective? And eventually, which side will he stand on? Now, the powers of the other members of the enemy faction is still not known. However, if we go back to the first chapter, the very first chapter, if you recall, considering the fact that Ko's parents were of royal lineage, they were massacred by that one still mysterious vampire, which means that there must be another vampire out there which is seriously powerful, and the only ones we can understand to be seriously powerful based upon Haiga's explanation in this chapter are royal blood, which means that there's probably an ancient royal bloodline that may be separate from the true royal bloodline that may have their sights on Shin and Ko. And maybe this whole thing is a battle between royalty, right? And since Ko is the final, bloodline of that original royal heir, that may be the reason why they're being targeted at this time by the enemy faction. We're not sure yet, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out. Now, the other question, with regards to the peaceful bloodline, we of course know of Shin and Ko, but the other character is Alice. And we know that Alice is also a relatively ancient vampire. The question is she royalty? My feeling is that she may be. And if she is, she may be hiding some seriously powerful capabilities, which may mean that somewhere in the future, she may come in clutch to actually save the day by showing her true powers. I am looking forward to seeing more about what Alice can do. But in any case, we're really starting to see a lot more about the characters and about the story, about the history and the world. And I think this author is doing quite well to escalate it in a pretty good way. It's not rushed, but at the same time, it's giving a good pace now, that if the author keeps on going this way, we'll learn a lot more about the world as we keep on going on. But anyway, that is chapter 12 of the series 僕らの血盟. And I'll continue to do more chapters as they come out, and I hope you join me at that time. And until the next chapter, happy comic book reading, and as always, have a nice day, everyone.